Good afternoon, everyone. I want to welcome everyone to the first hearing of the 116th Congress for this subcommittee, and I also want to welcome the new members of our subcommittee. This hearing is now called to order without objection. Members have 5 legislative days in which to submit their statements and materials for the record. And since I don't have a gavel, I'll just knock on the table. So given that there are many new members on this subcommittee, I wanted to take time for the first few hearings to really do an overview of the jurisdiction. I mean, we are blessed to have our ranking member here who has been on this committee and working in the subject area for more than 3 decades. But for the new members that are here, we really wanted to take time and review all of the different subject areas. So delving into U.S. policy toward Africa, having a hearing on global health, looking at international organizations, and we'll do this through a series of hearings. I also wanted to invite the members to a meeting that we're going to have on March 11th, which will be with all of the ambassadors from the African continent. And in April, we will do a congressional delegation to Africa, looking at the role of the U.S. military on the continent. This specific hearing focuses on the intersection of global health, human rights, and international organizations. The world is experiencing what many experts say is an unprecedented humanitarian and displacement crisis. I'm sure many of us have seen images flash across our TV screens that include massive numbers of citizens displaced from Syria, Myanmar, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Yemen, and others. But we also have to acknowledge that this is also happening right here on our own doorstep. According to the UN High Commissioner for Refugees in 2017, more than 68 million people were forcibly displaced worldwide. Those displaced included 25 million refugees, 3.1 million asylum seekers, and 40 million IDPs are internally displaced persons. People leave their countries for a variety of reasons, but most are forcibly displaced due to armed conflict, widespread or indiscriminate violence, human rights violations, and our persecution. Another category of displaced people includes the millions affected yearly by natural disasters such as earthquakes, storms, or drought. We can all imagine that the choice to leave one's home cannot be easy. After escaping some of the most challenging circumstances in their home countries, these migrants, refugees, and asylum seekers endure difficult journeys that often puts them at risk for exploitation. While there are many more cases, including people displaced from Afghanistan, Iraq, Sudan, and South Sudan, the situations I've referenced highlight that there are numerous root causes for why people are forced to leave. This is why it is critical for the United States to continue to support the State Department and USAID, given that their programs are often aimed at investing in women, girls, and youth. It's better to address the root causes for why people have to leave their countries. I would be remiss if I didn't mention that the United States is also confronting our own challenges on how to engage with refugees, migrants, and asylum seekers. As we watch images of these vulnerable populations making their difficult journeys, we have to ask the same questions that we were asked if it were the Rohingya arriving exhausted, hungry, and sick after walking for days through jungles or mountains or braving dangerous sea voyages. This is important because we should also hold ourselves accountable. It's also important because it gives us more credibility in the world as we attempt to tackle the important issue of displaced persons around the world. I look forward to hearing the testimony of our witnesses as we attempt to understand the magnitude of this crisis. And I want to thank the witness, especially our colleague, Representative Raul Ruiz. And I yield to my friend and colleague, Ranking Member